Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast. I am your host, Alex Harriman. This is my co-host, Jerrika and Alex. We are the coaches of Breaking 90 Fitness. Thanks for listening. Jer, how's it going?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. Pretty good today. What's new?
I've actually been purging my life. Like I do this usually every year, like twice a year. I just go nuts and I just go through every single drawer. Even if it's like a clothing drawer, I just refold everything and I purge my whole life. And it's so therapeutic to me. I'm sure other people do this and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's crazy, but I have so much stuff in a pile right now. But I also have this pile that I'm so attached to, and it's the most ridiculous items that I will never get rid of, like a shot glass from Florida.
Yeah.
Just like I can't do it.
I definitely have stuff like that. I know exactly what you mean. I have like an old like coaster collection from when I was a kid, and every time I start throwing stuff out, I'm like, nah, I'll put that aside.
Yeah, like I can't do it. And like I have a terrible memory. Everyone that knows me knows that I have like the worst memory and I write everything down. So I keep all these random items because when I see it, it sparks a memory from my childhood. But like I don't know why other people do it, but I just find it so weird to me. Like I just can't even handle that I keep these things.
Yeah, I could definitely relate to that. I'm a bit of a hoarder, as my wife would tell you. Yeah, I'm a bit of a hoarder. So when we do purge the basement, I have to like force myself to throw things out. But I think I'm getting a little bit better at that. Maybe not.
That's funny. I would say I'm the total opposite, except for that like random few items.
Okay, cool.
That's my story.
Wow. Well, that's it always definitely feels good afterwards. So that's cool that you're tackling that. I need to do a bit of that myself.
Springtime.
So I've got a topic for us tonight. My topic is how to navigate a cheat day.
Okay.
So I want to talk kind of about what a cheat day is, how we each feel about cheat days, and it'll be interesting to see if we kind of have the same thought process on that, because I know a lot of people go different directions on that, and then kind of like tips, tricks, and strategies leading up to things that if you know it's going to be a planned cheat day versus an unplanned cheat day. Cool.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. So to start off, what are your thoughts on a cheat day per se?
Personally, myself, I wouldn't say I guess I wouldn't say I agree. I don't do well with the cheat day mentality. I truly believe that it leads personally to continued cravings. As we all know, I love my sweets. So if I overindulge on that cheat day, then the days following are just also not controlled. So personally, I don't even love the word cheat day. And we both know that we feel that way.
That's something I wanted to actually touch on tonight. The thought of even going into it that it's going to be a cheat day is kind of the wrong mentality, because there's a really wide range of what people would consider a cheat day. I mean, I think we've all seen like The Rock's cheat days on social media. That's definitely like a cheat day, but the guy is also a specimen and trains. He's been training his entire life, and he's at a level that most people won't even come close to getting to. So it's definitely different when you're talking about something like that. I would almost classify him as he is a professional athlete.
Absolutely.
So I think right off the hop, thinking of it as a cheat day is definitely the wrong mindset. So I agree with you entirely on that.
Yeah, I just feel that the word cheat, it's like that so all week, all you're thinking about is that one specific cheat day. It's like you're dreading the Monday to Friday foods, which in my opinion, you shouldn't. You should be thoroughly enjoying what you're eating. I'd say for the most part. And then what happens on the Saturday? Yeah, let's say it's a Saturday. I would say that's probably the most common cheat day.
Yeah.
Is you're choosing foods that are probably way less nutritious, when in all reality, a cheat day could still have a lot of nutritious foods.
Did you at any point use cheat days in your own like
I have,
diet
yeah,
routine?
yep. I used to track my intake, and then I would keep it super clean Monday to Friday, and then go crazy when I was in university
Same.
on the weekends. And I have a lot of GI issues, so that was really not a good thing to do to your stomach.
Yeah, I used to do the same thing where you'd like, it might not even be weekly, but it would be like maybe every 2 weeks I'd have a planned day and
Yeah,
I would go like off the rails hard on that cheat day. Like I'd probably be setting myself back by like 4 or 5 days overall because of how hard I'd go on that one day.
what was your mentality leading into those? Like
I think
what
it
did you
was
think? Like,
like so that was like early on in my own health and fitness career and my own health and fitness journey. And I think what I would often do is create a very large deficit. So I'd be like
mhm.
really, really restricted. Like I'm talking vegetables and protein with hardly any carbs and fat added to that, so that you're constantly hungry, energy levels are low, you're not getting great workouts, but you're grinding through because I was younger and I didn't have a kid yet, and it was a little bit easier to get a better sleep. And then I'd be like, okay, this is my chance to kind of like restore my energy levels, so I need to eat everything. But like you said, it wasn't nutritious choices. Like I'd eat a bunch of pizza and wings and like have some beers, and it would leave you feeling
Yeah.
like shit the next day, and it wouldn't really be a cheat day because your next day you're not going to perform well and you're probably going to make a few poor choices. So it would end up being like a couple days to rebound from that, if you were able to wrap your head around it and not let it completely derail you from your long-term plan.
Yep. Yeah.
uh, um so instead of a cheat day, like the way that I like to look at it, and I think it's the way that we often do it with Breaking 90 Fitness, is we say like, how can I minimize the damage on this day? And we've done an episode on minimizing the damage, so we don't have to dig too deep into that. But basically, what minimizing the damage is how can I make this non-perfect day a little bit better than I would have in the past? So how can I make this, if you want to call it a cheat day, just because we're on the topic, how can I make this cheat day a little bit better than I would have in the past without letting it turn into a binge? Like if you're feeling like you need to unbuckle your pants and like loosen the belt buckle at the end of a day, then you probably went a little bit too hard. So rather than encouraging people to think of it as a cheat day, we call it an O day, but basically it's just a day that you're not completely sticking to your plan. And instead of having these cheat days every so often, what we do instead is just allow about an 80% perfection rate. So you're trying to stick to your plan about 80% of the time, and you're allowed to veer off that plan a little bit about 20% of the time instead. um what are your thoughts on that, and what have you noticed incorporating this kind of system so far?
With going into those days, I think it's really important to, and we talk about this often in Breaking 90, is to still, if it's, let's say, the evening that you are anticipating that planned O day or cheat day per se, it's still to tackle the morning and the lunch with the best intention. So you still want to be getting your water in, right? You still want to be making sure you're getting some protein in, because typically those evenings are filled with likely not a lot of protein and likely not a lot of water. So if you can, have 80% of your day, maybe 70, most of your day is still filled with great choices. You got your
Mm,
movement in, you got your water in, and then you're going in the evening and maybe you're having an extra serving than your usual weekday. And it's, in all reality, it's really not that big of a deal, because the rest of your day was not a blowout as well.
for sure. Yeah, and I think that's really important to recognize if you're having a planned day that is going to be off of your path, because you should. And I think everybody listening to this, like if you are listening to this and it's something you struggle with, you need to allow yourself to go off of your plan occasionally. If you don't, then it's not going to be sustainable. And as soon as you're done that plan or done working with that coach or done on that program, you're probably gonna fall right back into your old habits if you don't allow
Right.
yourself to to learn how you can navigate these difficult times of year, these difficult events and social gatherings. It's going to be really hard once you don't have that accountability and support. So I think everybody should try to do that. So if you have a planned, I don't know what a better word is for it than a cheat day. It's not, and I agree with you. I don't like to call it a cheat day, but if you have a planned day where you are going to be veering off of your plan or your path, it's really important to account for that. You have to make some sacrifices leading up to that, and it's important to realize that this journey you're on, if you are trying to lose weight, you are going to have to make sacrifices that somebody who isn't trying to lose weight might not have to make. So it's difficult to see friends and family who aren't making the same sacrifices as you, but they might not have the same goals as you. And just because you're making these sacrifices now doesn't mean you're going to have to make them forever. Right?
Exactly.
So
I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, you go.
I think it's important to note too is that when these are planned days, right? I'm this Saturday, I'm going to have some patio drinks, I'm planning it. You have to be okay with that decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't regret the decisions you made, wake up the next morning being hard on yourself, kind of slugging around. It's like, no, I'm going to go enjoy this. And thoroughly enjoy it, right? If this is the choice you're making, and then wake up the next morning and drinking that water back on track, or you don't have to call it on track, just back to your usual routine. I think some people, they kind of get their head down when it comes to, oh, like, what did I do? But in all reality, if you did everything right leading up to it, you enjoyed yourself, you had a great time, shrug your shoulders and give yourself a pat on the back and move on, right? It's not going to stop you too much in that journey.
Yeah. So something you said there kind of resonated with me. There's almost three different kinds of cheat days. I'm just going to say cheat day because it's easier.
Yeah,
There's
for
almost
sure.
three different kinds of cheat days. So there's the long-term planned events, there's the short-term planned events, and there's the unplanned events. So the long-term planned events are things like Christmas, Thanksgiving, a wedding coming up in the summer that you have scheduled, something that you have like over a month to plan for. So that's what I'd consider a long-term planned cheat day. So this is coming, you have lots of time to prepare for it. So if somebody's talking to you and they're like, I've got this wedding in like say 60 days, what can I do leading up to that? What's the best advice you could give them in that situation?
For the long term?
Yeah, the long term, like a wedding or like Christmas, leading up to Christmas. Like, how are you going to plan for that?
Well, you have a long-term plan, so you just stick to your regular schedule, in my opinion. You don't have to, like, if you're following a program already, it would just be following that routine daily, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's far enough away that you would be sticking to that plan,
For
whatever
sure.
it may be. It's not something, in my opinion, that you would need to stress about, because it's so far away, and you have, your exercise and your nutrition dialed in until then.
And just like we have like an 80% buffer built into our program, so you're expected to stick to the plan 80% of the time. So
Yeah.
that, say you've got 1, 2, or 3 days coming up that are going to be difficult, but they're a month away. So all that means is you might have to be a little bit more strict a month ahead leading up to that in order to maintain that buffer, right? Like if you're the type of person who every week likes to have one day that's a little bit off plan, that's fine. But then if you have this event coming up in a month, it's like, okay, I'm going to have to reel it in a bit on week 1, 2, and 3, knowing that week 4 is going to be a bit harder on me than usual. And if you're able to pre-plan and budget in that sense, you're going to navigate these events really, really well.
Especially if they're those, bachelorette, like, weekend long events, then that's when you're right. I didn't really look at it that way. That's when you're like, okay, a couple weeks in advance, how am I going to, because yes, it does take a significant amount of your calendar in the way we chat, as 80% of that month. That full weekend is pretty significant.
And so I think in the same sense, with a short-term planned event, so a short-term planned event, I would say, is like on like a Tuesday, friends are like, hey, we're all going out on Saturday night, you want to come? So that's like, okay, now I only have 6 days to prepare. What can I do to prepare for this? I would do the same kind of thing. I'd budget a little bit for it, but also you have to let some things just roll off your shoulders. And so you have to make a decision right away. Am I going to go to this event, or am I not going to go to this event? Have I been well enough within my program that I can afford to go to this event? If yes, okay, then let's make a plan. So the plan might be, say you're counting calories, the plan might be to shave 100 calories off each day leading up to it. So you have an extra 500 calories that night to spend, to budget with, right? I would never encourage somebody to shave like 2, 3, 4, 500 calories off per day so that you can go crazy, because it's creating that binge and starve cycle that we're trying to get out of, that roller coaster. But to budget a little bit each day, make a few sacrifices each day leading up to that's perfectly fine if you can do that. I think though, go ahead.
And I think sometimes too, when it's summertime, for example, and those nights occur more often than usual, I think sometimes if fat loss is your goal, and you have, you know, a specific goal in mind and you're ready to achieve it, then I think sometimes you have to be okay with saying no,
Yeah,
or choosing not to order those foods, or choosing not to have that drink, maybe
right.
being the driver. You will have to sometimes make those hard decisions, especially in certain seasons when things are a little bit more maybe busy than usual. That's just part of the reality when you have those specific goals in mind.
You just nailed it on the head there. You have to be familiar with the type of person you are. Are you going to be able to go to this event and keep it under control, or are you not? Offering to be the designated driver is an awesome way to do that. I say another thing that works really well is just telling your friends that you've got a goal and you're in the middle of a challenge, and you're not willing to veer off that challenge right now. You're really trying to commit to it, and you'll kind of take a rain check, and you'll be willing to splurge a little bit more in the future, but tonight's not going to be that night, and you'd appreciate if your friends respected that, right? And
Yes.
I think most people will, especially if you're offering something like to be the designated driver. But if you know
Definitely.
you're the type of person that really struggles with that kind of thing, then yeah, you're probably going to have to make some sacrifices. You might not be able to go out to every event.
Yep. For
Um,
sure.
so the last one that I wanted to touch on then is the unplanned event. It's the one where it's like you go over to a friend's house for dinner, and all of a sudden dinner plans fall through, and they're ordering pizza, and you didn't pack anything, and it's like, okay, we're having pizza tonight. What do you do if that kind of situation, something you completely didn't plan for, and all the plans changed, and boom, it's not at all what you were accounting for, you didn't budget the days for it, and here you are?
I think the first thing is I just sit back and think about how have I been this month, this week, etc. And let's say I've been, hitting my goals and feeling really good. Then that one day, in the grand scheme of things, is not going to make or break anything. Now, on the
100%.
other hand, if let's say a couple of these nights have already occurred and it's occurring again, I think, and it does happen, I think it's worth sitting down with your coach and reevaluating maybe some goals, or maybe the week going after, maybe we have to make some changes to your program, because if it's happening so many times unplanned, I think there's a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah,
For sure.
you're so right. One day is not ever going to make or break you. If this happens, enjoy your night, minimize the damage, get right back on track. That's
Yeah.
fine. It's not going to crush you. Like unless you're trying to get on a stage or to compete in something, then who cares if your journey takes a couple extra days, right?
Right.
One day isn't going to make or break you. But what you said there is so key. This is an unplanned event. This is something that's happening once in a blue moon. And if it is once in a blue moon, not a big deal. Let it go. If it's happening frequently, then you are not probably planning properly. If this is happening like weekly or even bi-weekly, like these things are constantly sneaking up on you, then you definitely need to revisit your goals, figure out why this is important to you, and what you can do to help with these situations. Maybe you need to start eating before you leave the house. Maybe you need to make sure you have some quick grabs in your car, in your purse, in your bag, whatever it might be. But like this type of thing shouldn't be happening so frequently then it's stopping you from getting to your goals.
Yeah. And I think we always kind of, when we think cheat day or we think unplanned events, we think like going out for dinners and eating, unhealthy, in quotations, food. But it could be as little as someone at the grocery store, they're out shopping for the day and they forgot to pack their food, right? And
Yeah.
now all of a sudden they're ordering takeout. So those unplanned events, like you said, yes, that could have been easily, it could have not been an unplanned event if you just pack something.
Yep, for sure.
So some of them are really easily manageable for sure and
And
avoided.
often we give in to the idea that like, oh, I didn't take anything out for dinner. Now I have to order or something like that. But I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, depending on how important this is to you, there's a lot of really quick options you can make just from home. Like you've mentioned in the past, you can open a can of tuna if you have to. You could make eggs. It's super fast. We've got one of our clients has like Greek yogurt for dinner like every night. Like it doesn't get any quicker than that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just really comes down to what your priorities are and what you're willing to make changes to and sacrifice on.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, I think we covered everything that I was hoping to cover in this episode. I think that's really beneficial, especially as people lead into the summer. There's going to be a lot of these events, so it's something to consider as you approach some of these summer events. Anyways,
Definitely.
do you have a kitchen tip for us tonight?
Yeah, my kitchen tip kind of goes with what we were talking about just now about how um, you run into the problem where nothing's ready for dinner and you end up ordering. Well, I'm live with my pressure cooker and air fryer. I think everyone needs a pressure cooker and an air fryer. I can throw in frozen chicken and have a full pulled chicken meal in 15-20 minutes max, done, and everything's ready. You throw in your peppers, you throw in your frozen chicken, pressure cook it, shred it, and everything, your tacos are ready to go, or whatever you're having, taco salad. It's my lifeline, and coming home every day, I probably use it about 6 to 7 days a week. So I highly suggest, if you're gonna buy one thing in the kitchen, mine's like pressure cooker / air fryer.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know they made a combination. But what you
It's
said
called
there's, oh, it's the
the
Ninja
Ninja
one?
the Ninja Foodie. Yeah, it's
Oh, cool.
amazing.
What
Mhm.
you said there is huge though. Like you're making a meal now in less time than it's literally gonna take you to order
The food to come
food
to
in.
your house.
Yeah.
I
There's,
mean, you can splurge a little bit on buying it, but I think it's worth, even a barbecue, right? You can prepare like 17 pieces of chicken on your barbecue, and then you're ready for the week.
yeah.
In my mind, there's ways around it for sure.
Cool. I love it. Great tip. I think people are going to get a lot of value out of this episode. So if you guys listen to this, make sure you leave us a review or even message us directly. Let us know what you think. If you have any suggestions for future episodes, that's great too. One way that you can really help us out if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes is you can actually take a screenshot of it and share it to your Instagram story and tag at Breaking 90 Fitness in it, and share that with your friends, because that's a great way for us to get some more exposure on these episodes if you think it's going to be helpful to somebody else. Once again, guys, thanks for listening, and I hope you all have a great day.